n8n is a really powerful workflow automation tool, and if you haven't heard of it or you aren't using it yet, it's definitely something to look into, especially if you have common workflows that you go through that you could actually save time by automating. Good examples of what you could automate could be doing regular research into specific topics, such as news stories. You could have a automated process where every week you get sent a list of the top performing news stories in certain areas. If you run your own business with your own website, maybe you have a web form, well, you could have an automation process where the responses to that web form go through, where you're able to actually action leads even if you aren't available to go back to them yourself. There's a whole ton of things that you can do with n8n, and the possibilities pretty much are limited to your imagination. And one of the best things about n8n is you can actually host it wherever you want. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you could quickly get an n8n instance up and running on a fast-host VPS literally within minutes. And I'm going to show you how quickly you could go from that to then having your own automated workflows. So let's get to it. So to get started, we need to host the n8n instance somewhere, and we're going to do that on one of our VPS Edition 2s. So I'm here on the fasthost website, and I'm going to go to servers, and then I'm going to go to virtual private servers. If you're just getting started, then something like a VPS, such as a VPS 2, would be a great starting point to give it a go. So I'm going to select the VPS 2, and this is why this is going to be so easy. In this drop down here, you can see we have Ubuntu 24.04. If we keep scrolling through that list, you can see that we have Ubuntu 24.04 plus n8n. It already has n8n installed. You don't need to do anything on your end to get n8n up and running. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to just take a look at the rest of our options, and then we're going to add the basket. So I've now gone through the purchase process, and I have a server that is being spun up for me, ready with n8n already installed. So we're going to wait for that to finish. It's only going to take a few minutes. And then once that's done, I'm going to take you through the next steps you'll need to do to get your n8n instance accessible and get started with it. So in our control panel, what we want to do is go to virtual private servers. This is going to list all of the servers on our account. Obviously, I've got quite a few, but the one that I'm looking for is this one here, because that's the server that I used the n8n image on. So I'm going to click that server. That's then going to take me through to the management control panel, where I can click on my server again, and we can get all sorts of stuff like the IP address and all of our access details as well. But what we want to do before we do anything else is, first of all, show you that there is also a really handy written guide that's going to be linked in the description on how you can do everything I'm going to show you today. And specifically, what I want from this guide right now is the port. What we need to do is essentially open up the specific port that n8n communicates through so that we can then actually access our n8n instance from the internet, so we don't have to be on the server to do anything. So I'm going to copy that port number, which is 5678, and then I'm going to go to my Cloud Panel instance. I'm going to go to Network, Firewall Policies. I'm going to click on this firewall policy. There's only one for the server, so that's fine. And then I'm going to paste in the numbers. Now, if you want to add a description so you know what this is for, then you can. So in this case, this is for n8n. That's just my information so that when I look at this list of ports, I know what that port was for. Then I'm just going to click the tick box. Now it's going to take another couple of minutes just to implement that firewall change. And once that's done, we're then going to be able to access our n8n instance. So there we go. It's already added. That was really quick. So going to go back to the servers. And then what we're going to do actually is we're going to go back to this guide. Now we've already done step 1 and step 2 by what I just did there. So all we now need to do is access our n8n instance. And to do that, we go to our server IP :5678. So let's go to our cloud panel. Let's grab our IP address right here. We're going to copy that. I'm going to paste that into the URL bar there. And then I'm going to add 5678 after a colon, press enter. And there we go. This is an n8n login screen. So now what we need to do is set up the owner account. So I'm going to go in and add the relevant details there. So like my email address, my name, etc. And then I will catch up with you once we've done that. Okay, so I've entered in all the information, and here we are on the workflow screen. So we can actually start creating n8n workflows right here. Now, in future videos, I'm going to show you how to create your own custom workflows and the kind of thinking that needs to go into that. But rather than really getting into the deep stuff today, why don't we take a look at some of the templates that are available that can get you up and running really quickly? And you can see that there are 8,515 workflow automation templates already created. And these are created by n8n staff. They're created by the community. So there's plenty of different use cases that you could actually start building for straight away. So let's scroll down and we can see here, we can just build our first AI agent. Let's just click on that one. And so this has opened up the kind of template screen for us. And if we scroll down, we can see what this template is actually for. And it's to launch our very first AI agent, an AI-powered chatbot that can do more than just talk. It can take action using tools. And this is one of the really cool things about n8n. We can take something as simple as an AI chatbot, so like Gemini or Claude or something like that, and then we can give it context and we can give it tools, which then turns it from just a chatbot into an agent. The difference being that the agent can actually do things rather than just talk at us. So why don't we go ahead and click on the use for free button here. And the really cool thing is with one click, we can actually just import the template to a self-hosted instance. And that's the IP address I want to send it to. I could also copy the template as a JSON file and I could paste it in. There's plenty of ways to actually use these templates. So I'm going to import the template to the self-hosted instance. And now we can see that it's going to require us to set up a Google Gemini chat model. So let's go ahead and very quickly do that. So we click on the button here. This takes us directly to the page where we need to actually set up our API key. And seeing as we're already in the kind of AI mindset, why don't we go ahead and just ask Gemini how we do this? So open up Gemini, to very quickly ask, how do I set up a free API key for Gemini to use within n8n? Hit enter. And I'm getting an A/B choice here in terms of useful things. But, so let's just take a look then. So what we need to do is go to the Google AI Studio. So let's open that in a new tab. And on the left sidebar, click, so sign in with a standard Google account. On left bar, click get API key. Yep, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. So I'm going to click get API key. Let's go back. What else did Gemini say that we needed to do? We need to create API key in a new project. So I'm going to click create API key, call this n8n, create key. And then if you need to see the details about your API key, you can click on the link there. It's going to show you all this information. I have blurred this because I can't share this information with you. But when you click on it, the top one here is going to be your API key. So all you need to do is click the copy button that's next to it. Then we go back into our n8n instance, where there it is. And then let's paste in our key, click save. Connection tested successfully, fantastic. So let's close this now, close that. Let's continue. So we've actually done everything that's here. So we've launched our first AI agent, a chatbot which uses tools, blah, blah, blah. So we've done this, we've connected Gemini. So now we've done that, we can actually start interacting with our workflow. So what else can I do with n8n? And you can see in the logs, it's actually going through the process of actually generating all of that information for us. We can see the full output, which is the kind of not as human-friendly text. But over here, and it is a bit small, so let me raise that up. It's answered using Gemini. It's actually answered that question for us. So it's given us a whole range of different things it can do, like connecting hundreds of apps, automating repetitive tasks, complex workflows, etc., etc. So by using this template, we've essentially created ourselves a normal chatbot. But it's not just a chatbot. If we take a look at what it's actually got access to, we can see there is a tools link here. And we can see here it's also got access to get weather and get news. And that's not something you can always confidently rely on a AI chatbot to actually do accurately. But because it has these tools, and if we take a look at the get news one, for example, we can see it's actually got access to news feeds here. So this is a tool that the AI chatbot now has access to in order to give us more accurate information. So let's try that. Let's go ahead. Let's expand this out a bit more just so I can actually see. And let's ask it, what is the latest news? I'm not going to specify. I'm just going to ask, what's the latest news? And what you can see here is that it's saying, I've got access to the latest news, but what would you like to get updates from specifically? Let's say TechCrunch. So these are things it has access to because that's here in the tools section. So if I just say TechCrunch, and now what it's actually doing, in fact, if I bring this back over again, you can see here the input. So it's actually gone to that feed. It's gone to that feed URL. And you can see here that we have the latest news from TechCrunch. So last 24 hours of TechCrunch Disrupt 2026 tickets. So 2026 means we know that this is at least in the last couple of months, so it is definitely current. It's talking about memory shortages that could cause dip in smartphone shipments. That's definitely recent news. That's definitely, we're seeing the RAM impact affect more consumer products. So that's definitely recent. So it's got the latest news for us, which means that that tool is working. And that's how easy it is to get a workflow up and running really, really quickly using n8n and AI. So in future episodes, we're going to take a look at more use cases, what you can actually do with this tool. But for now, if you follow this video through, then you should end up with your own n8n self-hosted instance so you can get experimenting and see how it can help you. I hope that's helped, and bye for now.